Cheating ex said, "Please take me back. I need you." Hello, true story. My name's Sam, and I want to start by saying thank you for what you do on your channel. I've been listening to you for a while now, and I never thought I'd be one of the guys writing in. But after what I went through, I think it's time to share my story. Maybe it'll help another man see the signs before it's too late. I'm a 42-year-old truck driver, been in this line of work for about 15 years. I run local routes now, but my schedule still has me out of the house most of the day, usually gone 8 to 12 hours, Monday through Friday. I've always been a hardworking man, someone who believes that if you put food on the table and treat your wife right, that should mean something. Turns out, it didn't mean a damn thing to my now ex-wife, Jess. I found out the hard way that love and loyalty mean nothing to someone who doesn't value them. Jess betrayed me in the worst way possible, and I caught her red-handed. Let me take you back to the start so you can understand how it all went down. How I met Jess. I met Jess about 7 years ago at a mutual friend's barbecue. I remember the first time I saw her. She had this big, bright smile that lit up the whole backyard. She was friendly, talkative, and laughed at everything I said. She was working at Verizon as a phone operator back then, and she seemed to have her life together. We hit it off pretty quick. She liked that I had a stable job, my own place, and wasn't one of those guys bouncing between gigs. I liked that she seemed responsible, grounded, and family-oriented. We dated seriously for about 2 years. I wasn't in a rush to get married because I'd already seen too many of my buddies get burned by rushing into it, but Jess started putting pressure on me around that 2-year mark. She'd drop hints like, "My mom keeps asking when we're getting married," or "I'm not trying to waste my good years, Sam." At first, I brushed it off, but over time, it became a recurring argument. She said she felt like I wasn't taking her seriously, that I wasn't committed. I tried to explain that I just wanted to be sure we were ready. Eventually, I gave in. I figured she was loyal, she was kind, and we didn't have any major problems, at least not then. I proposed to her in 2018 during a weekend trip to Gatlinburg. She cried, hugged me, and said yes before I could even finish asking. I thought I was the luckiest man alive. The honeymoon stage. The first year of marriage was everything I thought it would be. We got a nice 2-bedroom apartment, nothing fancy but cozy. We split the bills fairly, and she covered her car insurance, groceries, and phone bill, and I took care of rent and utilities. We laughed a lot, went out on weekends, and even started talking about maybe buying a house in a few years. She'd make dinner some nights when I came home, and I'd take her out on Fridays when I could. It was good, really good, but somewhere around the second year, the cracks started to show, the arguments and red flags. Jess started wanting to go out with her friends more often. She called them girls' nights. At first, I didn't mind. I'm not the controlling type. I told her to go have fun. But then it started being every weekend. Then she'd come home later and later. I'd ask, "Where were you?" And she'd get defensive. She'd say things like, "You don't trust me?" Or, "I can't even have a life outside of you." That's when I started noticing her attitude changing. She wasn't affectionate anymore. She didn't greet me at the door like before. We'd sit on the couch and she'd be scrolling on her phone instead of talking to me. I remember one night vividly. It was a Thursday. I got home after a long 11-hour shift, and she was sitting on the couch, smiling at her phone. I asked who she was texting, and she said, "Just my sister." I didn't push it, but something about her tone didn't sit right. I started noticing that she was always on her phone, always hiding the screen when I'd walk by. The discovery. Jess worked from home as a Verizon phone operator. She'd sit in the small office room with her headset on, taking calls, or at least that's what I thought. One day I found out she had gone part-time without telling me. I discovered it by accident. She left an email open on her laptop saying her new part-time schedule was approved. When I asked her about it, she brushed it off like it was nothing. Said she needed a break because she was feeling burned out. I was frustrated because I'm out there working long hours to make sure the bills get paid, and she's sitting at home needing a break. But what really got me was realizing that she wasn't just using that free time to rest. She was using it to talk to some low-life loser who lived 10 minutes away. I didn't know about him yet, but I started suspecting something. Her phone would ring late at night, and she'd step outside to take a call. She'd giggle in another room or suddenly hang up when I came near. Still, I didn't have proof. The day everything fell apart. Then came the day that changed everything. It was a Wednesday. I remember it like it was yesterday. I woke up feeling sick, nausea, headache, the works. I called my dispatcher and told him I wasn't feeling well, so I'd take the day off. I went back to sleep for a few hours, then decided to head home early from the truck yard where I keep my rig. I figured I'd surprise Jess, maybe spend the day together since she was supposed to be working from home. I pulled up around 10:30 a.m. I noticed her car was there, so I thought nothing of it. But when I walked inside, I heard noises, muffled, rhythmic noises coming from our bedroom. I froze. My stomach dropped. At first, I tried to convince myself it wasn't what I thought. Maybe she was watching something on her laptop, but then I heard her voice, clear as day, moaning. I lost it. I stormed into the bedroom, and there she was, completely naked, with some dude I'd never seen before. I went ballistic. I grabbed the guy by the arm and literally threw him out of my house. He barely had time to grab his pants. He was begging, saying, "Man, I didn't know she was married." But I wasn't trying to hear it. I told him to get the hell out before I did something I'd regret. Jess was crying, covering herself, saying, "It's not what it looked like." I yelled at her to shut up. She tried to grab my arm, and I told her not to touch me. I told her to get dressed and get out. She kept crying, saying she made a mistake, begging me to talk. I wasn't having it. She called her sister, packed a few bags, and left within 30 minutes. The gaslighting and begging. Later that night, she started texting me nonstop, saying she was sorry, that it was a one-time mistake, that I was just overreacting because I was sick and emotional. Can you believe that? She tried to gaslight me, saying maybe I was hallucinating because I had a fever. I called her and said, "Jess, I saw you. I threw the man out of our bed." She broke down crying. I told her I didn't want to hear another word and hung up. That weekend, I took a few vacation days to clear my head. I stayed at my buddy's place about an hour away. We went fishing, talked about life, and I told him everything. He said I needed to lawyer up immediately. The divorce process. When I got back, I called a lawyer. I was done. I didn't want explanations. I didn't want counseling. I wanted out. A week later, Jess showed up at the apartment saying she needed to grab the rest of her things. I let her in because I just wanted it all over with. As soon as she walked in, she started crying again, dropped to her knees, and said, "Please, Sam, I'll do anything. You can sleep with as many women as you want. Just don't leave me. Please forgive my mistakes." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I told her flat out, "It's over. I've already filed. You'll be getting served at your sister's place soon." Before she left, I asked her, "So who was that guy?" She said he was some dude she met at the Dollar General down the road. She said they just talked for a while before it got physical. I stopped her right there. I didn't want to hear another word. Sure enough, she got served the following week. That's when the real circus started. The court clown show. Jess's lawyer came in acting like she was the victim. He started demanding spousal support, saying Jess had to go part-time because Sam pressured her to stay home more. Total lie. My lawyer destroyed that claim fast. He showed proof that she made the decision herself and that she was still working full-time until 2 months before I caught her cheating. Her lawyer tried every trick in the book, said she deserved compensation for emotional distress. that she sacrificed her career for me. I laughed when I heard that. The only thing she sacrificed was her marriage for a man who probably couldn't even afford his own car insurance. After weeks of back and forth, the judge finally signed off on the divorce. No alimony, no support, no property to divide, just clean separation. When I walked out of that courthouse, I felt lighter than I had in years. Moving on. We didn't own the apartment, so I stayed since the lease was in my name. Jess moved in with her sister. I kept paying the bills like I always had. Nothing changed except the peace in my home. Looking back now, I can't believe I ever let her make me feel like I wasn't enough. I worked hard, loved her, and stayed faithful, and she still threw it away for some random loser she met at a discount store. But you know what? I'm not bitter anymore. I learned my lesson. I'm focused on myself now, getting extra roots, saving up for a down payment on my own house, and living my life without lies. I come home to quiet evenings, no drama, no accusations, no disrespect. She tried reaching out a few months after the divorce, sending messages like, "Can we talk?" or "I miss you." I ignored every single one. The only thing I ever want from her again is distance. If there's one thing I've learned from all this, it's that peace is worth more than love from the wrong person. A cheating spouse will always try to twist things to make themselves look like the victim, but the truth has a way of standing on its own. Turns out, the end of the marriage wasn't the end of the chaos. It was just the beginning of a whole new chapter, one I never saw coming. Because after the divorce was finalized, Jess became something else entirely. A stalker. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I wish I was. For a long time, I kept it quiet. I didn't tell many people because, to be honest, I was embarrassed. I thought it made me look weak. But now that I've had time to think and look back on everything, I realized that silence only gave her more power. So, this email is my follow-up. The story of what happened after I became a free man. The part where Jess started following me, calling me, showing up uninvited, and doing all sorts of things to get my attention back. Eventually, I had to start recording everything. I kept track of every time she popped up. 5 main incidents that ultimately pushed me to file for a restraining order. Each one got worse than the last. Here's what went down. Incident 1. The coincidental encounters. It started small, or at least it seemed small at the time. A few weeks after the divorce was finalized, I started noticing Jess's car, a silver Nissan Altima, popping up in random places. At first, I brushed it off as coincidence. We lived in the same town, after all. It wasn't unusual to cross paths now and then, but the timing of these coincidences was strange. The first time I saw her, I was at the gas station by the truck yard around 5:30 a.m. That's early even for most people, but for me, it's part of the routine. I was filling up my pickup before heading to grab my rig, and I noticed her car parked across the street by the convenience store. Engine running, headlights off. I squinted and thought, no way that's her. But when I saw the dent on the back left bumper, a dent I remembered from when she hit a curb last year, I knew. She was sitting there staring at me through the windshield. When I turned to look, she quickly drove off. That happened again 2 days later at the same spot. Then again the following week outside my gym. Then once more at the diner I always go to after work. Every time I saw her, she'd speed off the moment I made eye contact. That's when I started keeping my phone camera ready. I told myself, Sam, if she's trying something, you better have proof. I recorded the next few times. Short clips, nothing crazy, but enough to show her car pulling away from spots she had no reason to be in. At first, I thought maybe she was just having a hard time letting go. Maybe she missed me and didn't know how to deal with it. But I underestimated how far she'd take it. Incident 2, the late night drive-bys. About a month later, things escalated. It was around 11:45 p.m. on a Thursday. I had just gotten home from a long shift and was sitting on the couch, watching TV and eating leftovers. I live in a quiet neighborhood, mostly families and retirees, so it's usually dead silent at night. But then I started hearing this faint sound outside, a car idling. At first, I ignored it. I figured maybe someone was waiting on a friend or dropping someone off. But when the sound didn't go away, I got up and peeked through the blinds. And there it was again. Her car, parked right across the street from my apartment building. Headlights off. I grabbed my phone and started recording from the window. I zoomed in just enough to get the license plate and part of her face through the windshield. She sat there for at least 10 minutes, just sitting. I turned off my lights inside the apartment just to see what she'd do. Eventually, she pulled off, slow, like she didn't want to draw attention. This became a pattern. For the next couple of weeks, she'd show up at random hours, sometimes midnight, sometimes 2 a.m. I'd wake up, look out, and there she was. Sometimes she'd park across the street, other times she'd drive by slowly. I called one of my buddies and told him what was going on. He told me to get cameras installed, so I did, a Ring camera at my door and one facing the parking lot. And sure enough, I caught her car passing by at least 5 different nights. Always slow, always lingering. When I confronted her through text, "Yeah, I made that mistake once," she played dumb. She replied, "You're being paranoid, Sam. I was just in the area." No apology, no accountability, just manipulation. Same as always. That's when I realized this wasn't about missing me anymore. It was about control. She couldn't handle the fact that she couldn't reach me. Incident 3, showing up at my job. I thought home surveillance would be enough to protect my peace, but she decided to take things a step further. One morning, I pulled into the truck yard around 5:15 a.m. like usual. It was still dark, and I was about to climb into my rig when I noticed a familiar figure leaning against one of the other trucks near the office. It was Jess. She had on one of my old hoodies, the gray one I used to wear on cold runs. I hadn't even realized it was missing until that moment. She was standing there, arms crossed, just watching me. "Jess, what the hell are you doing here?" I asked, walking toward her. She said, "I just wanted to talk. You've been ignoring me." I told her there was nothing to talk about, that the divorce was done. She needed to move on. She started crying, saying she just wanted closure. I said, "You got closure when you slept with another man in our bed," she snapped. Her whole demeanor changed. The tears stopped, and she said something that stuck with me. "You think you can just erase me, like I never existed. You'll see me whether you like it or not." That's when I knew she wasn't just unstable. She was obsessed. I walked away, got in my truck, and drove off. Later that day, I told my supervisor about the incident, just in case she tried to cause problems. He told me to document it, so I wrote everything down and saved the footage from the yard cameras that caught her walking up. It was the first time I realized I might actually need legal help. Incident 4, the fake emergency. By this point, I had stopped all contact with her completely. No texts, no calls, no social media. I even blocked her number, but she found another way. One Saturday afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Normally, I don't pick up unknown calls, but something told me to answer. "Sam, it's Jess," she said. I sighed and said, "How'd you get this number?" She said she was in trouble, that she'd gotten into a car accident near my neighborhood and didn't know who else to call. Against my better judgment, I went to check, not because I cared about her anymore, but because I'm not the kind of man to ignore someone hurt. When I got there, I didn't see any accident. No damaged car, no police, nothing. But her car was parked 2 streets over. As I pulled up, she came walking out from behind a tree line, pretending to limp. I rolled down my window and said, "Jess, what the hell is this?" She dropped the act immediately, smiled and said, "I just wanted to see you. You wouldn't answer me any other way." I was stunned. "You faked a damn accident just to talk to me?" She shrugged and said, You left me no choice. That was it. I pulled out my phone, started recording, and told her if she didn't leave, I'd call the cops. She got angry and threw her hands up, yelling, "You're making a mistake, Sam," before storming off to her car. That was the fourth video I saved in my little insurance folder. At that point, it wasn't about being nice or patient anymore. It was about protecting myself. Incident 5, the break-in attempt. The final straw came about a month later. It was a Sunday night. I'd just gotten home after visiting my parents, and I was dead tired. Around 1 a.m., I woke up to my phone buzzing, my Ring camera notification. I opened the app, and there she was, Jess, standing at my front door. She was wearing pajama pants, a hoodie, and holding what looked like a small box. She knocked softly at first, then louder. "Sam, please, I just want to give you something." I didn't answer. I just kept recording. She started pacing, mumbling to herself, saying, "He'll open. He has to open." Then she bent down and tried to open my door. My heart sank when I saw the doorknob twist. Luckily, I always lock up tight. When it didn't budge, she got frustrated and started hitting the door with her hand, yelling, "You don't get to treat me like this. You don't get to act like I never existed." At that point, I called the police. By the time they arrived, she was gone. But the footage was crystal clear. You could see her face, hear her voice, see her trying to get in. That was the fifth recording, and the one that finally convinced me to file for a restraining order. Filing for protection. The next day, I went down to the courthouse and filed a petition for a restraining order. I brought every single clip I had, the drive-bys, the late-night appearances, the fake emergency, everything. The clerk looked through the videos and said, "You did the right thing recording this. You've got solid evidence." I'll never forget sitting in that courtroom when the judge read the order out loud. Jess tried to cry her way out of it, saying she was just trying to reconnect and that she didn't mean any harm. The judge didn't buy it. He looked at her and said, "Ma'am, this behavior is harassment. You need to stay away from Mr. Sam entirely." Hearing that felt like a breath of fresh air. For the first time in months, I felt protected. Aftermath and reflection. Since the restraining order went through, I haven't seen her in person again. There were a few small attempts, fake social media accounts, blocked number texts, but I ignore them. I report and move on. The last I heard, she moved out of her sister's place and into some small apartment on the other side of town. Someone told me she's been in therapy, and honestly, I hope that's true. As for me, life's been quieter, peaceful again. I've focused on work, my health, and even started reconnecting with old friends I lost touch with during the marriage. Looking back now, I realize that when someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. I ignored the early signs, the controlling behavior, the manipulation, the secrecy, because I wanted to believe she loved me. But what I learned is that love without respect is just obsession waiting to explode. Jess went from being my wife to my betrayer to my stalker. It's a dark evolution, but it's one that opened my eyes. If any man out there is going through something similar, if you're seeing your ex pop up coincidentally, if she's texting nonstop or showing up uninvited, document everything. Don't engage. Don't argue. Don't play her game. Just protect yourself. Peace is priceless, and once you get it back, you'll do anything to keep it. I've learned that as men, especially in this world today, we can't afford to give our peace, our focus, or our purpose away too early. Too many of us chase love before we chase stability. Too many of us pour into someone before we've even learned how to fill our own cup. So if you take nothing else from this email, take this. Focus on yourself. Build yourself. Love can wait. Let me break that down the best way I can. 1. The trap of early love. When I was in my early 20s, I thought love was the answer to everything. I thought having a good woman by my side would make me stronger, calmer, and more complete. I thought that if I could just find the right one, everything else would fall into place. But what I didn't realize then, and what I understand now, is that love built on instability never lasts. If you don't have your foundation set, your finances, your mindset, your peace, love will expose every crack in your foundation. And those cracks will split wide open when pressure hits. When I met Jess, I thought I was ready. I was steady in my career, yes, but not mentally where I should have been. I didn't have clear boundaries. I didn't understand manipulation. I mistook emotional dependence for love. I see so many young men out here now chasing women before they've even chased their goals. They're worried about dates, looks, and status, but not about discipline, financial freedom, or purpose. That's how men lose themselves. You start bending your schedule to make someone happy. You start overspending to keep her interested. You start shrinking your dreams to make her comfortable. And before you know it, the version of you that was hungry, driven, and focused becomes a shell of the man you once were. I'm not saying relationships are bad, not at all, but timing is everything. And most men don't understand that love should never come before purpose. If you build yourself first, you'll attract the right kind of woman later, one who respects what you've built. But if you chase love first, you'll end up losing both her and yourself. 2. Build your foundation before you build a relationship. After my divorce, I took a long, hard look in the mirror. I had been working myself to the bone for years, thinking I was building a life for two. But the truth was, I hadn't built my life. I'd built our life. And when she left, I realized I had nothing that was truly mine. That was my wake-up call. Young men need to understand that your 20s and 30s are the time to build. That's your grind era. That's when you lay the groundwork for the life you want. That means stack your money, save, invest. Learn how to manage your finances before you hand them over to shared bank accounts. Master your trade or career, whether you're a truck driver like me, an engineer, a barber, or an entrepreneur. Be excellent at what you do. Make yourself hard to replace. Build your body. Your health will carry you farther than love ever can. Hit the gym. Eat better. Take care of yourself. Develop your mind. Read. Learn. Be aware of manipulation, emotional games, and your own weaknesses. When you have your foundation strong, no relationship can shake you. You won't depend on someone else for happiness, validation, or security. And I'll say this, when you've built your own peace, you won't tolerate chaos. That's the difference between a man who's ready for love and a man who's just lonely. 3. Loneliness isn't a reason to settle. I've learned that loneliness makes a lot of men weak. It makes them do things they'd never do if they were thinking straight. After my divorce, I was lonely for a long time. Coming home to an empty apartment after years of marriage hit hard. You start missing small things, someone to talk to about your day, a warm meal waiting, even the background noise of another person's presence. But that loneliness can trick you. It whispers, just reach out, just talk to her, just date again. That's how a lot of men end up in rebound situations, chasing comfort instead of purpose. I had to learn to sit with the silence, to make peace with it, to understand that solitude isn't a punishment, it's an opportunity. It's in that silence that you start hearing your own thoughts clearly. It's in that stillness where you rediscover what you like, what you need, and what kind of man you want to be. Don't rush to fill the void. Fill it with growth, not another person. Because if you rush to fill the space too soon, you'll end up right back where you started, empty again. 4. Don't let rejection break you. Let it build you. Another thing I see a lot with young men today is how rejection destroys them. One breakup, one girl ignoring their texts, and suddenly they spiral. I get it. Rejection hurts. But it's also a blessing in disguise. Every no is redirection. Every heartbreak is a lesson. Every disappointment is a teacher. I used to think Jess rejecting me after I caught her cheating was the lowest moment of my life, but looking back now, it was the beginning of my rebirth. Because after she was gone, I had no one left to depend on. And that forced me to depend on myself. So if you're a young man dealing with heartbreak, hear me. You're not broken. You're just being refined. Rejection is the universe's way of saying you're not ready for that yet. Build yourself first. Use that pain as fuel. Hit the gym harder, work longer, save more, focus deeper. Channel that energy into something that'll outlast the person who hurt you. One day you'll look back and realize that what felt like loss was really liberation. 5. Redefine what success means to you. We live in a time where everyone's chasing image. Men feel pressure to look successful instead of becoming successful. They buy expensive clothes, cars, or jewelry, trying to impress women who wouldn't look twice at them otherwise. But here's the hard truth. Real success isn't loud. It's quiet. It's peace of mind. It's freedom from debt. It's waking up and doing what you love. It's having discipline, stability, and purpose. When you start defining success by peace instead of possessions, your entire outlook changes. I drive trucks for a living. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. I used to feel insecure about it, like maybe Jess looked down on me for it. But now, I realize that being a man of consistency and integrity is far more valuable than being flashy. You don't have to be rich to be respected. You just have to be reliable. So, young men, stop comparing your progress to others. Build your own lane and master it. Because once you're content with who you are and what you've built, no one can manipulate you through validation or approval. 6. Learn emotional discipline. This one might be the most important. As men, we're told to be strong, but no one tells us what that really means. It's not about hiding emotions or pretending to be tough all the time. Real strength is about controlling your emotions so they don't control you. When Jess cheated, I was furious. I wanted to destroy everything in sight, but reacting with anger only would have made things worse. I learned to pause before I exploded. Now, when something upsets me, I don't lash out. I observe. I breathe. I act with purpose, not impulse. Emotional discipline is power. A man who can stay calm under pressure is a man who can't be manipulated. And trust me, women, bosses, and life itself will test that calmness. Develop that control early. Meditate, pray, journal, whatever helps you think before you act. Because the moment you lose your temper, you lose your advantage. 7. Your purpose comes first. Your purpose isn't just your job, it's your reason for getting out of bed. It's the thing that gives your life meaning. If you don't have a purpose, you'll cling to people to fill that void. You'll start seeing relationships as your reason for existing, instead of seeing them as partnerships built on shared values. When I was with Jess, I made her my purpose. Everything I did was for her, my extra shifts, my sacrifices, my time. I thought that's what love was, but now my purpose is me, my peace, my future. Every mile I drive now is a mile toward a house I'll own someday. Every dollar I save is security that no one can take from me. Every quiet night is an investment in my sanity. That's what purpose looks like. So before you chase love, chase purpose. Because if you don't know where you're going, anyone can distract you. 8. Protect your energy. Energy is your most valuable currency. It's more valuable than money or time. Because once your energy is drained, everything else falls apart. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every woman deserves your attention. Some people come into your life just to drain your drive. They'll use your kindness, your consistency, your loyalty, and leave you with nothing but exhaustion. Protect yourself by setting boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to walk away. It's okay to cut someone off who keeps bringing drama into your peace. You don't owe anyone constant access. Once I learned that, my life changed. My phone got quieter, but my mind got clearer. My social circle got smaller, but my happiness grew. Your peace is sacred. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. 9. Love will find you when you're whole. After everything I went through, I stopped looking for love. I stopped chasing women, stopped trying to prove my worth, stopped comparing my story to others. And ironically, that's when I started meeting people who genuinely respected me. I haven't dated seriously since my divorce, and that's okay. I'm not rushing it. If love comes one day, it'll be because I'm whole, not because I'm trying to heal through someone else. Love should be the cherry on top of your life, not the foundation of it. When you're focused, driven, and at peace with yourself, you naturally attract people who are on the same level. The wrong people can't even find a way into your world anymore because your energy doesn't match theirs. So, young men, don't stress about finding love. Find yourself first. Because once you do, the right person will find you, and they'll recognize your worth without you having to prove it. 10. Final thoughts. If I could go back in time and talk to my 25-year-old self, I'd tell him this. Don't rush into love. Don't hand your loyalty to someone who hasn't earned it. Don't let loneliness trick you into settling. Build your empire first, then let love enter through the gates, not before. Heartbreak taught me more than happiness ever did. It stripped me down to the core and forced me to rebuild stronger. And now, I'm not bitter, I'm better. So to every young man listening, take your pain, your lessons, and your focus and turn them into fuel. Grind quietly, move smart, stay disciplined. Because one day, when you're sitting in the peace you built for yourself, you'll realize that love didn't save you. Self-respect did. That's my message, true story. I hope it reaches someone who needs it.